Picture a city humming with life, marble courtyards, wine flowing in the streets, wealthy Romans lounging in gardens while street musicians play for coins. This is Pompeii, a resort town on the Bay of Naples, packed with roughly 20,000 people, bathhouses, theaters, bakeries with bread still on the shelves. Bread archaeologists would find perfectly preserved nearly 2,000 years later. And in this city lived a young Greek nobleman named Glaucus, charming, wealthy, admired by everyone who crossed his path. He had everything a man could want, except the one thing he was slowly starting to realize he needed most. Her name was Nydia, a flower girl, a slave, and blind since childhood. Nydia sold flowers on the street corners of Pompeii, weaving music into her voice as she called out to passers-by. Most people barely noticed her. Glaucus did. He was kind to her, kinder than anyone had ever been. He bought her flowers. He spoke to her like she was a person, not property. And somewhere in that quiet kindness, Nydia fell in love with him. But here's the tragedy. Glaucus loved someone else. A woman named Ione, beautiful, sharp-witted, and just as taken with him as he was with her. Nydia knew it. She heard it in his voice every time he spoke Ione's name. And still, she stayed close to him, hiding a heartbreak that nobody around her could see, because nobody ever really looked at the blind flower girl twice. If this were just a love triangle, it might be forgotten by now. But something was coming that none of them could see. Something the whole city was about to feel. For generations, the people of Pompeii lived in the shadow of Mount Vesuvius and thought nothing of it. It was just a mountain, green, quiet, familiar. They had no idea it was a volcano. There's no written record of Vesuvius ever erupting before. No warning passed down through the generations. To the Romans, it was simply part of the landscape, the same way a hill or a river might be. Nobody watched it. Nobody feared it. But underneath that peaceful green slope, pressure had been building for centuries. In the days before the eruption, there were signs. Small earthquakes rattled cups off tables. Wells ran strangely dry. Animals grew restless, refusing to eat. A few people noticed. Most just went back to their wine and their gossip, because Pompeii on the surface was still a city obsessed with pleasure, romance, gladiator games, with everyday human drama. Glaucus was consumed by his own storm, a bitter rival scheming against him, a forbidden romance, a plot that threatened to tear him and Ione apart forever. Nydia, meanwhile, carried her silent devotion like a wound she refused to let anyone see. None of them were watching the mountain. On August 24th, that changed forever. It started with a sound, a deep, splitting roar, like the earth itself had cracked open. Then the sky turned black, not with clouds, but with ash, rock, and pumice hurled miles into the air. Within minutes, day became night. The temperature dropped. Then came the first shower, pumice stones raining down on rooftops, streets, and terrified crowds. People ran. Some tried to shelter indoors, thinking it would pass, the way a storm passes. It didn't. For nearly 18 hours, Vesuvius poured devastation onto the city below. Ash, gas, and eventually waves of superheated volcanic material that no one could outrun. And in the middle of it all, blind Nydia, who had spent her entire life navigating a world of darkness, became the only person who could actually find her way through it. While others panicked, stumbling blind for the very first time in a world that had gone black, Nydia moved like she'd trained for this moment her whole life. She knew the streets by sound and memory, not sight. And in that final, desperate night, it was Nydia who guided Glaucus and Ione through the chaos, out of the dying city, toward the coast, toward survival. The girl nobody had truly looked at became the only one who could see. Pompeii itself was gone within a day, swallowed by ash so completely that the city vanished from human memory for over 1,500 years until excavators accidentally rediscovered it in the 1700s. What they found stunned the world. The ash hadn't just destroyed Pompeii, it had frozen it. Loaves of bread still in the oven, wall paintings still vivid with color, and most haunting of all, hollow spaces in the hardened ash, which archaeologists later filled with plaster, revealing the final positions of people at the exact moment they died. Some huddled together, some shielding loved ones, frozen forever in their very last act. As for Nydia, in the story passed down to us, having saved the two people she cared about most, she couldn't bear a life where the man she loved would never love her back. Some tellings say that once they reached safety, she quietly let the sea take her, choosing to slip away into the water rather than live forever in the shadow of a love that was never hers to keep. A girl who spent her whole life in darkness gave everyone else a path into the light, and then chose to disappear into it herself. 2,000 years later, we still don't fully know how many people died at Pompeii that day. Estimates range from 1,300 to over 2,000 in one city alone. And yet, out of all the destruction, it's this one small, quiet act of love and sacrifice that people still can't stop telling. Maybe that's the real lesson buried under all that ash. Cities can fall. Mountains can rewrite history in a single afternoon. But love, even the kind that's never returned, is sometimes the only thing that survives. If a story like this deserves to be remembered, hit subscribe, because we're bringing history's greatest untold stories back to life, one myth at a time.